What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. As you probably saw last week, I uploaded a video talking about parkour's current industry and what I think is going on and the challenges that parkour businesses find at the moment. This got a little bit of a conversation going because Giles from the Motus Project also made his own video, and he explained that parkour's industry isn't necessarily dying. This is an exciting time to be a parkour business, but there are ways that we need to follow to kind of build and develop these businesses. And that really got me thinking, what is the current state of parkour? Where is parkour at right now? So what I've done is I've actually put a bit of a presentation together talking about the current state of parkour, the pros, the cons, what's going well, what's really nice, what's not going so well, what can be improved. And today we're going to kind of explore that. Obviously, this is just my opinion. This is from what I see and what I've asked from friends, family members, my girlfriend, what they think parkour needs to be doing. Of course, you may have a different opinion. That is totally fine, and I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. But obviously, let's please be respectful of everyone's different opinions, because healthy conversation is the way that we kind of develop these things. So with all that being said, I'm just going to jump straight into this. I'm going to start with the positives. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in parkour at the moment. I'm going to kind of just work across the top and the bottom. Obviously, the first one is indoor parkour facilities. Within the last kind of decade, we've seen more open up within the UK. This is like from the, I can't talk for other countries when it comes to parkour gyms, but in the UK, we've definitely seen some opening up, which is really, really good. And that's great because that means coaching organizations and businesses are impacting the communities enough that they're obviously teaching so many people parkour that they can open their own indoor parkour facility. And that's really, really good. I've obviously coached at Traversal, which is Crawley Parkour's, since 2018 when it opened. And it's really, really good. Like it's nice being able to share a passion of parkour with individuals that want to learn it and have probably seen it on YouTube and stuff. Plus, it's also creating jobs for individuals within parkour, and it's one of the only things within parkour that creates jobs for individuals within the community. And I think that's great. I think, everyone says that parkour coaching business is the easy way to make parkour money. It's not easy at all. Like running a parkour coaching organization and a gym is probably one of the most stressful things that you could do. And I've had, conversations with loads of people within the community that run parkour facilities. And we'll get into the negatives of it in a moment. But yeah, indoor parkour facilities, they've definitely grown in the UK over the last 10 years. I've been to a couple of them. I do want to try and visit all of them. Maybe that's the series in the future. But yeah, next one, again, clothing brands. Obviously, we've just had Team Frang announce that they're closing, but there are still parkour clothing brands out there. And although it doesn't really financially support loads of people in the community massively, it is good that we're now kind of seeing, some people slither into the business side of parkour and trying to make an impact. Like what we've done with Contendant is we're a parkour brand, I guess, first and foremost, but we're actually working on mental health awareness within the sports community, so we do have a bit of like a alternative mission there as well. But it is nice because now you can go to parkour events as people wearing parkour clothing, and that's sick. That's really good. So you've obviously got podcasts. So you've got the Stora podcast. I know that Team Reality make a parkour podcast as well. There's multiple different medias now. That's kind of what I wanted to say there was it's not just videos of parkour anymore. You do have things like podcasts and other media coming out as well. Videos like Gatecrasher, Gatecrasher is a really good video because it gives young girls and young women I guess like an inspiration, and it's that kind of like real good thing in the community that now there's some strong positive female athletes that young girls can look up to, and it's a video that I've recommended to a couple of kids that I've taught. I just think it's really, really good. But obviously, as well as Gatecrasher, you do have other projects like Project Next Gen, Stora, Roof Culture Asia, are like these kind of pay for piece videos. I know Gatecrasher wasn't, but you do have other videos that people have self-funded and they've made themselves and they've sold online. Breach was another one, the Enter the Breach film, things like that. And I think whether you like those videos or not, we still need to do a little bit more to kind of create those videos. And I know the Commons Boston as well is doing a fantastic job with that at the moment. That's linked in the description if you do want to check that out. Competition formats, so like SPL and the recent takeover competitions in the UK as well. That's really good. Like there's a competitive side of parkour now. You know, it's been 20 years in the country now, and some people like competition, some people don't. Some people will just not discuss competition. That's absolutely fine. But competitions within parkour now exists. Words, sorry, brain hurts. Competitions in parkour now do exist, right? And we kind of need to like look at them and embrace them. Some people get into parkour and they just want to do competitions, and that's fine. But also, like, some people don't want to do competitions at all. Absolutely fine, but it exists. Things like Josh Doey's The Movement, which is like a parkour update. We've had things before like the Flow Show or Giles Compiles, but now we've kind of got this one on Instagram, which is The Movement. It does go on YouTube as well. And that's really good because it kind of gives you like a summary of what's going on in parkour at the moment. And then obviously we've got events as well. So I've got OMFG there, which is one of the best parkour events I've ever been to. But you know, there's a full love of movement. There's loads of events each year. Some are 1 day, some are 2 days. Like recently in the UK, we had the Street Media Social. That was another really good event. I didn't go because obviously of circumstances at the moment, but there's loads of events now going on that kind of bring a lot of people together. And big events like the OMFG are fantastic. And I've got some other little bits on here as well. So it's like the sport has never been the sport has never been more connected. We're living in an age now where it doesn't take much for a parkour video to kind of be pushed to the parkour algorithm on Instagrams and stuff. And that's really, really good because it means that the community is all very well connected together. Obviously about, 10 years ago, it was you'd kind of have to go on Facebook and try and find groups and stuff. Whereas now it's just like, oh, do you know someone who's over in Sheffield? Oh yeah, these guys, here's their Instagram account, get in touch with them. It's really, really good. Obviously, parkour gyms and easy, accessible ways to learn. Obviously, there's been a kind of rise of parkour coaching, which is great. It means that more people are able to access parkour and learn it. And what that means as well is people are making less mistakes when they're training. Obviously, accidents do happen, don't get me wrong. But it's really good that, the things that I had to go through back in 2012 when I was first learning, I can now do a couple of sessions at a parkour gym or with a parkour coach, and I can learn those things very quickly. Huge events, the Movement, weekly fix of parkour content, big staple projects like Gatecrasher and Next Gen, more media like podcasts and writing. So yeah, those are basically like some of the positives that I've seen in parkour at the moment. And now we're going to go on to some of the improvements, right? And this is obviously something that's quite passionate I'm about, to be honest. But what I do is obviously I've got a few things here. So I've got like closing down sale with some money. I've got these thumbnails on YouTube, which I absolutely hate. I've got an older lady doing a balance here. So a little bit of representation within the sport. We've obviously got competitions. We've got speaking. We've got a parkour gym there as well. But what does all that mean? So support parkour businesses more. I said this in my last video, and this is something that I'm massively passionate about, is we need to be supporting parkour businesses. I know some clothing brands release clothing and it is expensive, but that costs. This is the way I see it, right? With expensive clothing. Clothing is cheaper to produce the more you buy. But to buy more, you need more income and you need more money. And a lot of parkour businesses do not have that, right? So they buy less amounts, which means the t-shirt or whatever they've purchased is going to be more expensive than if they bought it in a massive bulk, for example. So we need to be supporting parkour businesses massively, like clothing brands, parkour facilities and gyms. One thing I've noticed is some of the parkour community, and this kind of comes from the Storer Awards where they say if it's in the gym, it's in the bin. There's this kind of mentality within the sport right now that it's bad to train or have a session in a parkour gym. And there's not that much support from the community, from what I've noticed, for parkour gyms. Obviously, I train outside. I know how enjoyable training outside is, and I do prefer it to training in a gym. But during the winter, during the rainy times, support those gyms a little bit more. Like those those parkour gyms are developing some of the next generation of athletes. And when they close down, people within the community are the first to say, oh, parkour gyms are struggling. Oh, another parkour gym's closed down. There's no parkour gyms. I know some of them are quite far away from people. I'm not saying if it is financially unviable for you to travel to somewhere. I'm kind of waffling my words, but what I'm saying is it's important for the community not just to support businesses like clothing, but also support the parkour gyms. Go visit your parkour gym, get your friends together, go take a bit of a trip down to there, because it is important. Like, parkour gyms are struggling. It's so expensive. We're living in this age where rents and cost of living is going up. Maybe less people are attending sessions. Maybe the rents on the indoor facility are rising and stuff. We need to support more parkour gyms with what they're doing. And like I said, I'm not saying if your local parkour gym is 2 hours away, you need to go visit every week. But maybe once a year, twice a year, get your friends together, travel up, support that parkour gym, because that parkour gym really, really needs it. Similarly, I do think parkour gyms could be doing a little bit more to showcase the outside of the gym parkour community, if that makes sense. So I think doing things like showing videos in the gym, workshops with like bigger athletes, doing a little bit more to support those parkour clothing brands if they can. Obviously, it goes two ways. The parkour gyms should be supporting the wider parkour community, but the parkour community should also be helping to support the gyms. And there is a little bit of a divide at the moment, but I do think there is probably more with the parkour community needing to support the gyms rather than the other way around, because from what I've seen from all the parkour gyms that I've visited to, they are promoting the outside community from their indoor space to the kids that they teach. But obviously sometimes you can go to an indoor jam at a parkour gym and it's very, very quiet, and it's upsetting. It's because that gym could be struggling. That gym needs that support. I can make a whole other video on that, and perhaps I will make some conversations with indoor parkour facility owners and get that conversation going. But I'm just going to move on because I'm going to spend way too much time on it if I need to. But challenging negative media, so that's kind of what this here was about. Let's just move on from the robbing phone, viral parkour video stuff, or, you know, escape from police, just late to school. Like there's some like videos out there. Like I saw one the other day on my social media that was someone literally running up, stealing a phone, and then using parkour to get away from it. Obviously it's fake. Obviously it's like content stuff, but it's so shit. And obviously I'm not the demographic for it. It is for kids, but there's more that we can be doing positively for the sport, but we're just going to go down the route of, let's just make this like naff small piece of content of me stealing a phone and running away. Like, that's a really good thing for the sport. And obviously we've had things like the recent Team Fat in Matera, Italy. Not good at all. Should be challenged by the community for doing things like that. And there is a thing in the community at the moment where we are scared to challenge people's media. There's a lot of like yes men and yes women within parkour. And I think we could be doing a lot more in the sport to kind of be like, actually, no, that's not okay. Just an idea. Probably going to get me some hate. I don't really care. I think it's important. More diversity in media and content. I think we need to be doing more to showcase women. We need to be doing more to showcase people from a different background. Maybe, you know, someone who might not have the most amount of money. Maybe someone that is a little bit older. I saw a really good piece on the BBC News a few years ago of pensioners doing parkour, and I think seeing more things like that would be amazing. Again, similarly to what I said about challenging negative media, is speaking up on issues and behaviour. Obviously, we should be, again, I won't repeat myself, but we should be doing more to kind of challenge those negative behaviours and things that go on. We're a little bit scared to do that at the moment. Even if it's, you know, not anything massively negative, having that conversation about it, making it aware, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people are still quite young people, so they're still learning, and that doesn't necessarily make it right, but it's important that we can kind of, you know, guide them along the way. So find a way to broadcast competitions. This is quite an important one. At the moment, parkour competitions are very community focused. It's very much like, right, you can come to our event, you can pay us £5-10 to come to the event and watch the competition, or you can watch a YouTube or an Instagram live stream. But there's no way that that's going to grow the competitions if, I guess, the outside spectators can't watch it. Red Bull was a really good example of this. They actually did this quite well. They managed to kind of make a way to kind of broadcast the competition. But within parkour at the moment, we don't really have a way of doing that. And I think for the competitions and the sport to grow and develop, we need to find a way to broadcast the competitions to the wider audience and kind of, promote it to wider audiences. We need to make the sport approachable. And so what I mean by that is, obviously there's loads of things on social media at the moment of people doing really big jumps, really big gaps. But I see this on YouTube more than I do on Instagram. And there are more people now creating content that is about how you get into parkour. What can you do in parkour that is going to get you into it, that's going to help you work towards making an income through it or something, for example. But there's not a lot of that on Instagram. On Instagram, it's very much like, watch this big jump that I've done, or this huge front flip that I've done, or, these kind of things. And I feel like I'm not saying everyone needs to become this kind of like content machine where it's like, this is how you do parkour, this is how you do that. But I do think there should be ways that we kind of, try and promote getting into the sport, how easy it is to get into the sport, how accessible it is for individuals. And I think, if that's the kind of way that you want to go down, just follow it. Like I've kind of been in like the fence on this stuff for a little while, where I've been a bit like, oh, I do want to kind of do this, but I'm worried what people are going to think. And I don't really care about it anymore. I'm just going to kind of go down that route, like stories and how to do this, how to do that, because if this sport doesn't grow, it will die. It's young enough that if we don't grow this sport, and if we don't make it approachable, and if we don't make it diverse, and if we don't do all these things, this sport will die. And whether we like it or not, it's the grim reality of it. It's up to us, it's up to the community to be making these ways to make the sport better. So I probably waffled a little bit towards the end there. My brain's still a little bit at the moment. It's not good. I can't focus on long things like that for a long time. But yeah, basically, I just think there's ways that we could be improving this sport. Yeah, I think we can be doing a little bit more. And I think there are some brilliant people out there who are doing great things. But I do think as a community, as a sport, we could be doing a lot more. Be interested to know what you think. Obviously, I've probably not made much sense because my brain is absolutely frazzled now. Interested to hear what you think. And if you did like the video, you can click like, subscribe, all that jazz. And yeah, thanks for watching.